Welcome. I'm so excited to be hosting the Abundance Masterclass. This is so great. I absolutely love this topic. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart, having come also from a background that's been nothing but challenging and hardship and the opposite of abundance. And I've learned so much in my life, my career, as well as from my students and with my students that I'm going to be sharing here with you in this fun, fast-track masterclass. For those of you who don't know me, I am Evette. I'm also the author of Metaphysical Anatomy. And guys, check this out. Also, it will be released soon, but not yet. Are you ready? Metaphysical Anatomy, Psychosomatics for Children, just as big as Metaphysical Anatomy. I'm so excited. So this is what's been happening lately, and also amongst these master classes that I've been teaching. So I'm very, very excited to be going live with this big mama very soon. So you guessed it, this is for adults, and this is the psychosomatics for children. So enough said about that. Guys, welcome here to Manifesting Abundance. Whew. This topic is deep. It is deep, 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 because we all want abundance. We all want to strive for greatness. We all want security and to feel safe and to feel good every morning and just to wake up and not having to worry about money or what needs to come next or how am I going to make ends meet this month, especially if you are a business owner. It's sometimes 10 times more challenging because you have that stress of if I don't work, I'm not earning money. These thought patterns over time, subconsciously, becomes a very deeply engraved neural pathway that is just filled and fueled with fear. We've all been there. And I have become the hamster in the wheel myself, not once, but several times. I am not above to making a mistake. But what does help me is my mindfulness practicing and also just being aware. When I start to see myself spiraling and falling into that fear-based thinking, because if you're in a constant state of distress, if you're in a constant state of fear and thinking, I don't have, I lack, you sink deeper into that because that fear becomes bigger and bigger. And then the actions that you try to take to combat the fear become stronger and stronger. And often, what are those actions? Panic. It's panic. It's the stress. It's thinking, I can't do it. I'm going to fail. What if this? What this? I don't have support. I have nothing that I need. I don't have the resources. Whatever your reason might be in relationship to feeling that you cannot create the abundance that you want, that stress is there for a reason. You don't just feel like that for the sake of feeling. All these aspects come forward and they all play a role. I'm getting my notebook up because we're going to be doing a fun, quick exercise here together, because even though I'm talking to you about all of this right now, we can talk about and I can give you the best advice, like nail it to the ground. But if your core fundamental aspects of money and abundance is not clear, Houston, we have a problem. Now things are going to become and feel 10 times harder. It's almost like healing and doing something backwards and not from the beginning to end. That's basically what's going to happen. So first of all, what I would love to do with you is let me just move these big books out of the way. It's just like, oh my God, it's like, it's nuts. I can't believe I wrote all of this. The time, and the energy that I've had to use for all of that. But I did it. I'm so happy. So guys, what I would love to do with you right now is, let's just right off the bat. What is your definition of abundance? What is your definition of abundance? Now, before you write, because I'm going to be writing this here with you, before you write something, what does abundance even mean to you? You see, all of you came now here with me to this event, manifesting abundance. But abundance of what? Abundance of what? Money? Love? Security? Friends? What is your definition of abundance? Because for me, my definition of abundance is love. If I have enough healthy love in my life, oh my God, I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I can conquer the world. And based on that empowered state of mind, from there, I am able to establish and to create financial abundance, financial security. You see where I'm getting at? It's not just all about money. What is a core fundamental aspect that you need to have in your life to know that you can powerfully show up to create the financial structure and abundance that you know you can create and that you are worthy of creating? Because any fears or doubts that you have, it's not even yours. But we'll jump into that a little bit later. So let's just get this part very clear. I'm going to be writing here with you. What is your definition of abundance? What does it look like? What does it feel like? All these aspects. So let me do this here with you. What is your definition of abundance? Let's start writing. So mine already, as I told you, it's love. Being in love, having love from my child, from my partner, from my friends, from my colleagues. And of course, there's different levels of love, but the core foundation is love. Okay. So let's go. Let's write. And just get like at least the foundational aspect of it. Don't worry about too much detail. Don't worry about, oh, I have to get it all right. I have to get it all done now. You can always check out the replay and really go thoroughly through this again if you want. So you can absolutely always do that as well. So let's stop there, and you can always continue to write afterwards. So I wrote mine here, so I will share with you. So mine is, as I already mentioned to you, my definition of abundance is love. So how do I know that I have love in my life? And that is when I feel respect, I feel compassionate caring. I feel people can be compassionate of themselves, but also of me, especially when mistakes are being made, when things don't go very well. That is normally the test of real true love. That for me is to see where you really get to see a person's true character, or you can go traveling with them. But also to support, where there's mutual support as well in relationships, where there's kindness, where there's also respect of one another's time, spending quality time together, and also showing interest in one another's life passions and goals and projects and what is important to them as well. So these are just a few aspects for me that's really super important to have, to feel that I have a healthy amount of love, which just, wow, it just blows up my abundance like you wouldn't believe. So let's say, for example, now that we have now established more or less our definition of abundance. So this is now fantastic. The next thing that we often also have is there's a fear. We all often have a fear of abundance. We have a fear of finally getting what we want. Now, sometimes the reason why we have that is because when we finally get what we want, the chase factor is over. The panic is over. The stress is over. What do we do when we're not in that heightened cortisol state of feeling this emotional high of always being in a state of panic? Some people actually get addicted to that. You might be going like, oops. Yeah, I'm sure you can relate to that to some degree. It doesn't have to be to the extreme, but to some degree. I have absolutely been there. Let me tell you, I was probably the queen of it. Sometimes people even would subconsciously create a crisis just so that they can get into that state of heightened state and distress, because that's where they perform, that's where they can act, that's where they feel sharp. But also, sadly, that's where we make the most mistakes, because we're not grounded, we're not present, we try to do things too fast, we're not clear within ourselves. The more mindful you can be when you take certain actions based on maybe a project, a goal, that at the end of the day, we do want it to move towards abundance, the more solid the foundation of your abundance is going to be, period. I can't stress that enough. So basically what's happening now here is I would love for you to write down or take a note of what is your fear of abundance, meaning what do you either fear of gaining or losing if you finally get the abundance and the security that you want and need. Another great way to ask you guys this is to ask, what in your life will change that you are not ready to change if you got the abundance that you want right now? I repeat, what in your life will change that you may be not ready to change if you got all the abundance that you want right now? Let's have a look. So I'm going to be diving into what this was for me in the past. Be sharing that here with you as well. Let's do it. What's your fear? We're going to be adding this into our healing meditation, so it's important that you play full out. I'll give you just a few more seconds to write that, because this is actually a lot of fun. So I wrote down here my fear that I had of getting what I want to, if I finally had to get the abundance, was that I would lose my purpose. I didn't know who I was if I wasn't either fighting for something, trying to fix mistakes, or trying to achieve, to fill up all the, imagine like having a ship and it has all these holes and you're trying to plug in all the holes, and the more you do that, the more holes you find. To not always be in a state of crisis. Who am I? And you know what the realization I had? It was that was the story of my life. My childhood was always a crisis. There was a lot of stress, a lot of abuse, a lot of tension, a lot. I didn't know what it's like to be relaxed. I didn't know what it would like to be calm. And I knew that abundance would give me the security and the calmness that I really desperately want and need. But now it's going to bring me to move into a certain state that I associate with danger. Because in the past, when I was calm, when I was happy, when I did feel safe, that's where, the dynamic with my dad and other circumstances, that's where I would feel caught off guard. I wasn't in my defense state. I wasn't ready to fight. And whatever happened in that moment would hurt 10 times more, because I didn't feel emotionally prepared for whatever upset or turmoil it is that came. So security, safety, calmness was the states that I tried to avoid. And abundance absolutely would have given me that. because I come from a background where my dad did extremely well. I mean, a millionaire, and then lost everything overnight. So I've had the best of the best, and I've absolutely had the worst of the worst. I've seen the contrast. And let me tell you, it's a hell of a contrast. One that you will never, ever forget if you've ever experienced that. To go from 0 to 1,000, and then from 1,000 to a 0 again really fast. So my programming, what I saw, what I observed in my childhood was very toxic. It was very unhealthy. And my dad had the same patterns, always a struggle, always having to panic, always having to fight. It was always hard. Everything was hard. And he even said to me every day, life sucks. Life is hard. Everything is a fight. Everything is a battle. You have to fight for what you want. Ooh. Guys, the universe is always listening. If you are always fighting for what you want, have you noticed the kind of people that come into your life? Have you noticed the kind of business dynamics that you end up in? It's a hard reality check. But at the time, we don't question it, because we're so in the mode of fighting or having to suffer or having to struggle for it, that we're like, yeah, this is a match. I know exactly what I need to do now. I need to fight. Ding, ding. Here we go. Now we're in the boxing round. Now we want to try to, move through obstacles and move people around and this and this and that. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted. I was. Let me tell you, I was 19 and I ended up in hospital. I ended up in hospital from absolute exhaustion and a breakdown. And that's because I had the strong belief that I had to fight and work hard and work relentless hours for everything that I wanted. Now, here's the catch. I was 19 when I ended up in hospital, but my brand new 318Ti BMW was outside of the hospital because I drove myself in that car to the hospital and I basically collapsed in the doctor's office. And they kept me there for 2 days. I achieved my success, but at what price? Now I formulated the association that if I have success, I have to do all these things that is so self-destructive in order to get there. So when I bought that BMW, which I did, I told my dad I'll get it before I was 20. And he told me, you're the dumbest thing that I ever know. You will wipe vomit off the floors in pubs. And that's probably the best thing that you'll achieve, Evette. That stuck with me. That stuck with me. And I had excuse my French, but I was 12 years old, and in my head, what went on in my head was, fuck you. I am gonna show you. I will become better than what you ever could have dreamed of. And I did. He had a very senior position in a company called De Beers, diamond mining company. My salary was 3 times more than his. 3 times more. And people saw how hard I worked. They flew me to Johannesburg from Kimberley on a private jet. And they quadrupled my salary. They gave me an apartment. They gave me a car. And I worked my ass off. But then I also stopped in front of a hospital with my BMW. No friends, no one to even drive me there. No one to call for help. Because I didn't have a life. And I was 19. So you see, when I left that hospital, it hit me, and it hit me hard. I was so unhappy in my life. I had everything that I wanted. Everything. My abundance, I had it. But I believed that in order to sustain and to keep this abundance, I had to continue this destructive cycle. And I had to look at the reason why. I had to look at the reason why I had this destructive cycle. And that was my anger towards my father. That FU moment that I had when I was 12. That hatred, that rage, that anger. Guys, it was so toxic. It's even sad when I think back to it. Like, if I just had this awareness back then, I could have done this so differently. But we all do the best that we can at the time because that's what we know. Right? So I realized that I had to let go of the pain with my dad. I had to heal that stress because that anger, that wound is what drove me to becoming successful. So I associated success with needing that anger, with needing that fight. But that was just a belief. It was a program that I programmed myself with. And I paid a price for it. I got what I wanted, but I also paid the price. So I had to reevaluate. It took me 3 years to kind of like backtrack and to figure out what am I going to do from here on? How am I going to invest back into myself? How am I going to redefine what success is? And to start to establish in a way that is sustainable. Because what I had was short-term success. It was short-term gratification. I was no way that I would have been able to sustain that. And I got to a point where I even hated the fact that I was, so resentful of my dad. I didn't want to hate him anymore. I just didn't want to. I completely moved out of that to the point where I couldn't identify with it anymore, but I feel like I had to just be in order to hold on to the success, because that was my platform. So having said that, I would love for you now to look. When you try to create, not even try, when you are creating your abundance, what state are you in? What state are you in? So I'm going to write down here, for me in the past, it was anger towards my father. I wanted to prove my dad wrong. What was yours? Please write it down. And remember, just get an answer that will be supportive and helpful for you right now. You can always go to the replay and do it again. Now, another question that I have for you before we dive into the healing meditation to start to shift these old blocks that you have. Another question that I have for you is, who else that you consciously are aware of or know of, with whom else do you share these abundance blocks with? Did you maybe see or observe mom or dad, or maybe a caretaker, or maybe it was a friend, maybe it was a mentor? Did you see perhaps someone else also showing these exact same patterns? Have a look. Think about it. And the best way to do this, I know this sounds really crazy, but it actually really works. The moment I asked you that question, just bump, whose face came to mind? Whose voice did you hear? What image did you see? Who or what does it remind you of? Is it maybe a moment in time? Think about it. Mine was definitely my dad. Hands down. Well, maybe a little bit of mom too, but predominantly dad. Definitely dad. Yeah. Mm. Okay. So I think, no, I'll share tips for you at the end of the healing meditation, what you can do, and also what I do to stay connected to my state of abundance. I'll be sharing that with you. I'm going to share you my personal step-by-step little guide that really keeps me in the zone. But for now, I would love to start our healing meditation. And also, just for those of you, if you're loving this, I would also love to invite you to our intuitive body workshop. If you bring 2 friends, you can come for free, because there you will be learning how to read the body like a book. It's so great. A lot of great latest research being shared there, and we have an absolute blast. And it's online, of course, to make it easy for you guys. So having said that, I would love for you to either lie down, relax, or you can sit up, whatever you feel most comfortable with for your healing meditation. I'm going to start. And now I invite you to take a nice deep breath. I love to take nice deep breaths before I start something new. It creates like this energetic, clean slate. Clear your thoughts, allow the nervous system to kind of like settle down, knowing that let go of what you were thinking about, or maybe what you felt stuck with. I'm going to start something new now. And I invite you to hear, feel, see, or sense yourself in a nice, positive, open, empty space. And in that empty space, I invite you to hear, feel, see, or sense a beautiful light flowing from your head, down your arms, your neck, also your shoulders, your chest, your back, your hips, your legs, out your feet. And imagine that light being a beautiful healing light. You can give it any color of your choice. Just feeling how it's soothing and relaxing every single cell in your body. Releasing fatigue that you might have been feeling today. Also, just maybe releasing old negative patterns and thoughts that's just been maybe looping and running back and forth in your mind. Just allowing that to now just drain out of your body, just down, 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 into the earth. And also just feeling how your body is becoming more and more and more relaxed as you do, as you're releasing all this old stress. And also just acknowledging now the difference between your identity and other people's stress that you might have taken on. And just feeling how their stress is just draining out of your body, just down, 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 to be released. You are observing that. Just that open, empty space that you're in. I invite you to think back to the definition of abundance that you wrote down earlier. Think about it. Just recall what you wrote down. And as you do, my question to you right now is, what step, even if it's just a small step, what step can you take today to start to fulfill and shape your life according to this definition of abundance? What positive step can you start to take today? And I invite you to think about what step this is, because I really, really invite you. Be serious. Be committed. If you are not serious about your abundance, the universe cannot be serious about providing you with abundance. If your attitude is going to be wishy-washy, the universe's attitude is going to be wishy-washy. Now is the time to really commit and to make a decision and to be consistent with that decision. And I'm just going to give you a few seconds here. Just be with that. Observe. And make a decision. And if you feel a little bit nervous about, oh, I don't know what decision to make, this feels very serious, that's okay. I invite you to just make small steps, small little decisions that you can feel comfortable with. Stay present, stay focused, stay here with me in the here and now. And stay focused on the decision that you are willing to make today. And now, the next question that I have for you, the next step that I would like to move us into now. Where in your body do you feel that fear of getting what you want? Where in your body do you feel the fear of getting what you want? You might feel it in the form of maybe there's a heaviness somewhere. Maybe you see a color. Maybe you just feel your attention is drawn to a certain area in your body. Maybe you can feel the emotional tension in your body. And then I invite you to observe and look at the part of you which emotional memory, thought, or wound motivated you to try to achieve success. And where in your body do you feel that? You might feel it in the same area as where you did with the fear of getting what you want felt. Or it can be a completely new area. And once you have that, I invite you now to hear, feel, see, or sense a beautiful beam of light that is flowing down from your head, flowing through the area or areas where you feel this old stress. Shifting your full focus and awareness now to that area. And feeling how this light is just resolving and dissolving. Resolving and dissolving that old stress. Dissolving and dissolving. Feeling how that area or areas in your body is slowly starting to feel lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And also where you feel it, where your full focus and awareness is now in your body. Allow that part to expand and feel how it continues to dissipate by expanding it. Because by expanding it, you are releasing the blocked energetic flow that has accumulated in your body over time. The more space you give it, the easier you make for this to be released. Feeling how it's expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding, becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it just dissipates into the universe. And now, I invite you to shift your thought and focus to the person that you share this abundance block with. And I invite you now to silently within yourself acknowledge the difference between your identity and their financial struggling beliefs. For example, and I will use myself as an example, I acknowledge the difference between my identity and my father's financial challenging beliefs. And once you've done that, we'll be doing some positive affirmations, and all that you have to do is listen to my voice. And this one affirmation is specifically now also in alignment with the person whose old values and beliefs towards money you also shared. I call my power back from your limiting beliefs around abundance. I now establish and create my own definition of abundance in my life. My definition of abundance will be supported by the universe because I am supported and I am a part of the universe. I can achieve abundance with ease and with grace. I acknowledge the difference between creating abundance and fighting for abundance. I acknowledge the difference between easily creating abundance and feeling challenged to create abundance. I call my power back from people and circumstances who challenged my self-belief in becoming abundant. I call my power back from the poverty consciousness. Whatever I want to do and to create, the thought of it is already created. The manifestation of it, it is done. Now I just have to take action. I invite you to take a nice deep breath. One more time. Just feeling how the energy of the universe is just continuing it to flowing through you from your head down, out your feet, throughout the day and night. Continuously aligning you with abundance and your definition of abundance in a way that is gentle, easy, and graceful. And so it is. And when you're ready, I invite you now to start to feel the surface beneath your body. Feel and sense the room that you're in. And slowly start to come back, giving yourself a nice big stretch. And welcome back. Also, as I would love to share here with you also just quickly, wonderful ideas to align yourself with abundance and ones that I love to create in my life. Number one, the effortless state, the flow state and the effortless state. To know and understand that whatever you want, you can create exactly that in a state that feels effortless. the panic, the stress, the worry, that's just coming from hardwired cognitive programming. It's not even real. But the fact that it's running in our subconscious mind and the visceral body and the physiology of our bodies responding to that makes it feel real. But you're running based on programs and memories that just doesn't exist anymore. And the more you can start to practice conscious awareness around that, the more you can start to call your power back and start to move and act in ways that is constructive towards your path of abundance. Another tip that I love to implement also in my life, and I do this every single morning and night. Whatever I would like to achieve, I declare it done. It's done. The fact that you thought of it means that the thought and the outcome is energetically already plugged into the quantum field. It's there. You already formulated all the energy structures and the foundation to come together to hold the space for the physical manifestation of what you want to create. The blueprint is there. It's like building a house. You have the blueprint. Now you just need the bricks. Now you just need to act. Consider it done. Secondly, align yourself with at least 3, 4, 5, 6, or 10, whatever you feel comfortable with. People who are abundant, but people who also share similar values to you. And I love to visualize these people every single morning and night. And I love to pretend that their energy is just becoming imprinted with mine in a positive way, not in a way where it changes me, but where I can copy and hold their values and beliefs in relationship to abundance. And feel the financial security and safety that they also feel in their life. And start to feel that same level of safety. Because when you feel safe, all your actions will become effortless. Because you're not stuck in that state of fight and flight. You're now in a state of being in the flow. Guys, there you have it. It was so great to have you here with me today. And until next time, be the light that you are.